Welcome back to Star Wars DND, Session 76. Ho ho ho! Merry Sithmas! That's all the intros for that one. Hey, what's up? My camera's darker than it should be. Let me fix that here. You might have noticed that we're missing a few players. Kiri is asleep. I don't know why he's asleep right now. I don't know if he's gonna show up. Putamayo's here. Travis isn't gonna be here. Mike is here.
It's right here.
But okay, there he is, finally.
Go on.
And did they resize Roll20 again? My preference just reset. Alright, well, things might not be quite as cleanly cropped as last time. But we finally got Mike back here playing. We have you marked as Ghost. But you know what? This is a holiday session. If you want, you can hop back to playing Xeno.
Do I still have the character sheet? Is the question. Yeah, I do.
Oh, whoa, that crap. Alright, so the way that this session is gonna work, you wake up, you find yourself here in front of Passion Claws, the harbinger of the Sith side of Santa, the dark side of Christmas, surrounded by trees in the middle of a snowy field. Well, 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 what do we have here? Xeno, Ajisai, Putamayo, Midas, even though two of you are taking a nap right now. I am here to show you the ghost of Christmas past. Things that could have been, encounters that may have existed, or I can answer the questions that you have asked. Basically, this is going to be a very loose session where we're going to go through the past of things that could have happened, and if you have questions, either you guys directly or you in the chat, we're going to cover those things. If you're thinking maybe they missed or maybe they could have done something differently, how would that have linked to the story? I'm going to reveal it here. Because where we are at the final session, presumably the final session for next week, or the week after, we'll see how it goes. You know, things are, I don't think we're going to break from the path that we're on, essentially. So I don't think I'm going to spoil anything for good.
Here.
So let's put on some not quite Christmassy music, but it's Christmassy-ish.
I missed the juke.
Give me those ankles. This ankle break, it's kind of OP.
Can't be stopped.
It's like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Excuse me.
All right. So, what's your first questions? What do you wish to know? How could the story have changed? What could your actions have accomplished? Or I'll just run through some older maps or some older ideas here of things that I intended to do but did not happen.
Well, hang on here. Let me pull this up here. Where's this? Where's my actual notes at here? All right, I guess we'll just go from most recent. All right, what would have happened if we killed Midas?
At what point?
Pretty much the last time we encountered her. Where she had the girl with her.
If you had killed Midas, the girl would have attacked you. And you either would have had to try to persuade her to stand down, or you would have had to kill her.
Yeah, sounds pretty reasonable.
That one's a pretty rational outcome. You could have assumed most of that one.
Yeah, and my brain, I assume, but then I'm like, no, I can't assume. I need, I need facts. The
There
truth.
are, and there's always certain things you can try, inspirations that you have. You could have tried to convert her to add her to an NPC, to an ally of the team. Possible. Maybe you could have talked sense into Melis. Unlikely at the point that she was at. Had Putumayo gone with her, he would have removed himself from the story and his character would have lived.
Yeah, what would have happened then? Would I have made a new character to join the party?
Yep, you would have made a new character come in to join the fray, and Putumayo would have probably been gone forever, or maybe he'd come back in some climactic final moment for you to reclaim the character.
Okay.
There are lots of little moments like that with Aji Sai and Midas, where they could have they had decisions that I gave them off screen, whereas just so you know, this is or this person has a conversation with you, and this is information that you acquired through that. That your path on this character is going to come to an end here soon, and the only way to kind of not have that happen is if you go through these steps. And every single time they've been ignored. Every single time I've tried to save a character that died or tried to get them on a path that doesn't lead to their total demise, completely ignored. Every time. 100% of the time.
100%.
Sometimes
Except
death is the way.
So, that's a fun one there. Shazam. How Draktal became Freedom instead of Vera because Vera was a higher Sith. It was because she was so broken and beaten down in her conflicted mind that Draktal, off-screen, essentially challenged her to a duel, beat her down, and took the title of the strongest Sith for himself, forcing her to submit to him.
Interesting.
I was curious. I'm happy you caught that. I was curious if anyone was going to directly address that, especially when you face off against those two again. Nope. Story of this DND. Me thinking this is gonna be a fun thing when they ask about it. They never ask about it. Classic DM experience.
GG. No, instead I'm more curious about how much this costs.
How much this costs.
What would have happened if Passion lived and stayed with us?
Eventually, he would have tried to kill you at some point. He would have assisted you throughout the rest of the assassins, though. With the only one that might have been able to convince him back would have been Tross 10.
Okay.
I'll feel confident in my decision to betray him.
I like Passion. He was never intended to be an ally, and then y'all embarrassed the fuck out of him.
No, roll 20 embarrassed him.
Yeah, there was some shit rolls.
Roll 20 there's a funny way of doing that.
Yeah, the will of the dice always takes us in a different direction. Oh, here's a fun thing that's absolutely never going to come up. This is Travis's robot, Sid. He was going to have an entire storyline revolving around him. I put multiple paths for that story to be picked up. Travis never took them. Not even once. Never even had the slightest idea that it was a plot hook. He was just like, all right, moving on.
GG.
Constantly with that one.
Now that you say that, I do recall some moments where you just kind of made a face after something happened. I think maybe those are the times.
It definitely might have been. There are worlds where I had. Let's see if I can remember which one this was. It wasn't Castian. It wasn't Tython, not Korriban. No, not Kakara. I don't remember which planet this was. There's one, maybe New World? Yes. This is one that had a lot of stuff that you could have done in it. There was a bar for information, there were different restaurants, there were other places that you could go to gather information, there was a little brothel over here. Every single detail on this map was completely ignored. You all just walked out of the city, and that was it.
Okay, well, hang on. This was the map where we were going to meet like the moth or like the informant or somebody. It was like a general or somebody like higher up.
I don't remember exactly. You were leaving. You landed here, and then you left to pursuing a Jedi temple in the water.
Okay, I'm trying to remember exactly what, because I think we walked out and something immediately happened.
Yeah, I feel like were we in a rush or something? Or is that why we left?
You weren't.
Who
Maybe when
knows?
you left, you were in a rush because there was something with a spy going on in that one. But when you arrived, you were not in a rush.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened here. I'll look back because I know we were here and then something happened as soon as we got off the ship, and then we had to like we had to just go immediately to our destination after that. But I gotta look back now. I gotta see what happened. Something happened here.
How did HK end up with LeBear? That's a fun one. So in canon, or not canon, in Legends, HK survives up to just before the Clone Wars, where he is on a Mustafar droid manufacturing plant, and someone recovers his core processor, and they put it into the machine, and they realize how advanced it is, so they start using it to try and make new droids. But because it's so advanced, HK ends up realizing what's going on, takes control of the system, and begins to make a new body for himself, as well as a bunch of inferior HK models out of their construction droids. From there, he pretty much leaves the world after he's destroyed everyone in his way, killed everyone. And then he ended up meeting with LeBear just by chance. Essentially, LeBear was investigating a place where he ended up going. And as the two kind of faced off, LeBear realized that this is someone who has ancient knowledge that he can use to his own profit. And also, HK was willing to work with him because he realized that LeBear's plans may be the greatest way for him to find more high-level meat bags for him to kill. And specifically one of LeBear's grand goals that never ended up being explored in depth, because it would have resulted in a party wipe if it did. HK aligned with that goal, which is him essentially trying to remove the Force from a massive region, to find whoever could survive in that, what the conditions were, and if he could find a way to apply that on a big enough scale, HK considered that the perfect situation for him to hunt down all humanity that would survive. It would take down most of the population if he helped LeBear get to that point, and then HK would finish the job. And LeBear was fine with that. Like, he understood what was going on. He was like, yeah, it's fine. I believe that humanity, that life will find a way.
So, HK's goal was just to kill everyone.
Yes.
So
HK's always looking for a new hunt, people who are really worth killing to prove himself as the best. And so with LeBear's plan of limiting the population to only the people who could survive such a traumatic incident, HK said, this is a way to narrow down all of my targets to the ones who are probably the strongest survivors.
Okay. So it's a hedonistic robot. He was programmed that way.
Protocol.
Yeah, it's kind of his protocol. It's kind of loose with that. He just he likes killing. He's like from Bopulus Michael.
Here I go killing again.
Exactly. What's up, Orpheus? Welcome to the holiday session. If you have any questions about bygone days or any of the stuff that's happened, feel free to ask them. For our holiday session, we are going with Passion Claws. Let me go back to that map. And I'm answering old questions about things that could have been, events that might have happened, how the story could have unfolded, or things that just didn't get covered, either because the players didn't initiate the conversations or the triggers, or maybe I just forgot to cover it in other means. How is LeBear able to hide his force sensitivity from the Sith? Just because he understood the way the Force worked, he knew how to mask his presence almost to a perfect degree. If he wanted to stay completely hidden, he could. One thing I was going to do, but I realized it kind of conflicted with the way of storytelling that we were trying to do with this. It's something that if it was in the Naruto days when I was running a D&D, I probably would have done it. I was going to have Vader and Palpatine arrive at LeBair's place while the players were there, and he was going to use his force to mask their presence. And it's going to be a whole scripted confrontation between them, with LeBair basically being like, I can remove the force from you two and kill you. I can't do it before one of you will kill me, but I can guarantee that one of you will be detached from the force forever moving forward. And neither of them were willing to take that gamble. So the plan was then just have them go their separate ways. Like, if you don't fuck with us, we will not try and kill you. They're being like, good, because I don't want to fuck with you.
Definitely.
But yeah, that was something I cut because I'm trying, I've been trying to go for more player interaction. If you like that scripted stuff, like I did a lot more back in Naruto, let me know. Because I like doing that stuff. It's fun writing practice for me, but it can be a little bit boring for the players. It is kind of like fan fiction, essentially.
What is life but one
He's
big
a Skywalker.
What would have happened if Zeno destroyed the ship when Vader was on it? I would have done some bullshit where he uses, like in Star Wars Episode 8 when Leia survives the vacuum of space. It would have been something like that, where Vader would have survived it, used it to go to his ship, assuming it was still intact, and draw himself in there with the Force. Which I think he's actually done in canon, but that's probably what would have happened.
Skywalkers are immune to space. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. So what if when we were at the temple where LeBair like got his enhanced vision or whatever or powers, we left with him instead of separating?
It's like if you had followed his path kind of through to its end.
Yes.
He would have gone on to begin to experiment more and more, trying to just go through that path until eventually he would have felt compelled to start experimenting on either force-sensitive subjects that you found or you. LeBair was very much the kind of thing that no matter what, he is going to end either a neutral force or an enemy. There's no way he's ending as a true ally.
So, did he discover what the branch was doing to him? Or is that not in the past yet? That's visions of Christmas future.
No. He essentially would study that and discover it gave him no meaningful insight to his end goal. It was an interesting study, an interesting thought project, but nothing that. What would happen if they followed up on Qui-Gon Jinn's path choices? They kind of did to an extent, though they did flip-flop around, making things much more difficult for them. I don't remember exactly the paths he laid out for the players.
It's great for me.
But if they had stuck more to his decisions as I'm recalling them, like more towards the neutral path, trying to be free, that would have been LeBair. If they were trying to stick to the light side path, that would have been finding Ken, going with him, continuing his path, going on the more Jedi Order side, or they could have gone towards the darker side of the Sith, which would have been with them allying with the assassins to try and face Vader and Palpatine. Which is similar to where we're at and the path that ended up being taken, but they have less allies with them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If everyone was if I felt like everyone was a little bit more willing, like earlier on, I would have sided with the assassins. Like instead of like straight up killing Passion. Yeah. Well, I probably still would have killed Passion, but I would have went with like with like strength.
And what would have happened if Kiri had stayed with the assassins? If he committed to that path without no plan to return, he would have become an NPC. They would have made a new character, whatever Voxa would have been, and then I would have had control over him being an NPC. And maybe Kiri would have taken over the voice role for time and time, but that's pretty much what would have happened. You probably would have been number 3 behind Vera and behind Roktal. Or if he did it early enough, so that way that would have been Dross 10 there, he would have been number 4.
And then we'd have killed him.
What would have happened if we joined Maul?
He
True, yeah.
would have led you on a certain path to try and confront Vader directly, but without him. He would have given you certain access to relics that he's hidden away, the dark saber being a big one there that was almost pursued but ended up being decided against. And that probably would have led more towards an Inquisitor conflict, because there's still unnamed Inquisitors that I could have pulled from.
Yeah, like the one that's in my background story. Not my background story, but the one that's in the time skip.
Yeah. Could Vader have been killed on the ship with a heroic moment point? Maybe.
How heroic we talking?
If he had a good enough idea, if Ghost did, if Xeno did, maybe I would have found some way to do it and been willing to break canon for it. But Vader is really strong, and one person doing fighting him and beating him, I probably would have made it so that way a heroic moment point would have saved Xeno rather than killed Vader.
Unfortunately, I had to use that heroic moment point. In a spat, maybe that
was Dross 10 a Chiss Ascendancy spy? He was not, but there was an indirect affiliation with them when he was younger. He was someone who essentially was very high up as a kid in Chiss schooling, but after Palpatine discovered who he was, he pretty much took him out of there. It's like, nope, I got a better purpose for you. Would there have been backup assassins if enough time has passed? If they didn't make any attempts to save Melis, she would have become a full-blown assassin instead of abandoning them. And that's what the girl that she was with would have also become as well. So those were the 2 backup assassins. I dabbled with making Kinwan as well. But I decided that him kind of going through the hermit path was something I liked better. And he wasn't intended to be a full ally either. No, he was supposed to stay there and just be like, this is my death. I'm going to die here. And then y'all were like, no, come with us. It was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, that's like what I was gonna ask. I was gonna say, like, what if we just left him there? Like, I guess he's just gonna be an NPC from there.
He would have stayed there, accepted Melis and the others coming to him. He would have tried to turn Melis back to the light. He would have failed, and she would have killed him.
I was probably expecting.
Interesting.
Explode a star, drive the ship into one.
Drive into the sun.
I don't think anyone has a heroic moment point right now. People have done things that have been a bit too conflicted for me to try and give one out. Like, Midas has made some wild decisions of just betraying potential allies betraying them because it goes against his moral code what they're asking him to do. But in a sense that could earn a heroic moment point because that is him role playing very well. But it also felt like it wasn't done because he wanted to obey the light side, but like him stabbing them in the back figuratively was just because they were pissing him off. Like when the Crimson Dawn droid was destroyed, it seemed like less that he disagreed with what was being asked of him, and he was getting sick of the droid telling him what to do. That's how I interpreted it. Maybe I'm being subjective and wrong. But I felt like the final straw was him just being annoyed.
Perhaps.
Frodo?
All right. So what was the whole... Oh.
Oh, go ahead.
What was that? So all right. So with Plagueis, was Plagueis intended to actually be the active force that he was?
No.
Or was he supposed to be just like
He was just meant to be like a small whisper in the ear here and there.
Okay.
But because of what you did, I was like, okay. Yeah, I think this could be fun. I know for a fact Aji Sai was proficient with the armor. I haven't been thinking about that, Orpheus. I don't think Putumayo is proficient in the heavy armor that he's been wearing. And I have not been I've not been counting anything against him for that. At this point it's too late. I'm not going to. I wasn't thinking about that.
Isn't the paratrooper armor light armor?
I think it was medium armor.
Yeah, medium or light.
Maybe I did make it light because it was supposed to be better than Stormtrooper armor.
Yeah, I thought it was just light armor.
Maybe we did cover that. Now that you're saying that, actually, yeah, I think we might have.
I wouldn't know.
I still probably shouldn't have made it whatever it was. I should have made it heavy armor.
Yeah, because if it was heavy armor, it should have granted something more. Like the only thing it was like granting was the reduction from energy attacks.
Well, it still grants a pretty high AC, but your level was high enough that was relevant.
Oh, true.
If Plagueis had fully corrupted Xeno, then Xeno would have either become an NPC working against the team, or I would have allowed him to pursue a path against Plagueis. Or not Plagueis, against Palpatine. But that probably would have resulted in his death. Very similar to how it ended with Vader.
Yeah.
What wouldn't happen story-wise if Aji Sai survived?
Like he didn't die and we had to like roll back time type of thing.
Yeah, do you mean like when he died the first time or when he died for good?
When he died for good.
So when he died for good, if you had kept him going, eventually I was going to have more and more catastrophic events that would have pushed him away into being like, I can't, you're all going to die with me, or until you all die with him.
That could have been a clean, easy sweep right there. You know, we're all in the same space, just
game over.
That was the main thing. I wanted to have bigger events, but I didn't want it to just constantly like have an almost guaranteed shot of ending with a party wipe. Because I didn't want to punish all of you for one player's decision.
You gotta be efficient. Efficiency is key.
All right, so I guess that's a side question onto that. What if we left into like the Yuzan Vong like lands and just
Who says we haven't gone there yet?
GG. Don't tell me you guys went there.
Pretty safe to say people aren't going to go there. At this point, we're pretty close to the end of the story, no matter what. That even if you tried like turn your back on it last minute, this would still probably be the finale. But had you pursued the Yuzan Vong and just given up on this galaxy entirely, I would have read up more on the lore of the Yuzan Vong and how Luke went through with the Yuzan Vong in Legends, and I would have used that to inspire a very different campaign towards the end, where you all would have tried to figure out what's going on with the Yuzan Vong, figuring out what their plans are for the galaxy, and trying to either stop them or work with them. Which would have been a very difficult thing, as all of your force powers at that point would have been almost useless. But I think it would have been a very fun twist. Aji Sai is not even a force ghost. He is entirely gone. Because of him having the force entirely corrupted or entirely removed from him, he has no force ghost, no spirit that went into the cosmic force. It was just entirely gone. There, you could argue there's still like an old version of him out there somewhere that could be in the cosmic force, that when he died initially. But the way I've been running it is that he is just gone. And there also could be when he touched the plant on that one planet where it absorbed his force. There could still be a little bit of him in there. But until that planet's force energy dies, it doesn't return to the cosmic force. So he would essentially, that part of him would be trapped on that planet until destroyed, which would have only happened through a time skip that would have resulted in had the time skip happened like when Ghost was freed from prison and you all got arrested and put in those jail cells, you would have come back way after the events, after the Death Star was blown up, after Vader and Palpatine was gone. And maybe there would have been other force or planet destroying things that come up, like in episode 7. Might have been something with that. And maybe that destroyed the trees, destroyed that entire world, or it would have been LeBaire. Which had you gone through that time skip as well, LeBaire would have looked the exact same as he did. He would have found you again. He would have been like, "Hey, there you all are. Where you been?" It looks the exact same. "Oh yeah, I've been using the Force thing to keep myself young. That thing I learned from fucking what's his name?
He learned it from Yoda. That's why.
Not Yoda.
Yeah, Baby Yoda.
The guy who you were with when you died.
Me?
Yeah.
Piranu.
Thank you. I was thinking he has a very similar character to Masayoshi in Naruto, so I was thinking like his name starts with an M or a J for Justice. That's not right.
All right. Here's an important question. What would have happened if we had let Piranu finish the ritual?
That's what I was about to ask.
What would have happened there is you would have discovered that Palpatine was actually already had a plan in place for this happening, and it would have caused a massive, essentially reverse effect, causing a ton of damage to Tython instead of Coruscant.
And so we would have had to dip from Tython at that point.
Old Palps always has a backup plan.
And then would he have sided with us, I guess, is the question.
Being more broken down, he might have. That would have been something I would have decided in the moment. I didn't have that fully thought out.
Okay.
Was the redirection of Ajisai messed up the flow of the Force, knocked the party off of the canon? Oh, that would have been a fun idea. I was not thinking about that. Resurrection of Ajisai. That isn't what I was thinking about at all. That would have been a fun way to play that. The time travel ended up throwing you into a universe. Yeah, I could still do it. This could be non-canon. If y'all find a way to beat Vader, that'll be my excuse.
Not Vader and the Emperor, just Vader?
Well, I'm assuming you're going to confront him more than the other.
Okay.
I'm going to come back. And
maybe it's a slight spoiler. Who knows? There's still some plot threads that need to be tied up. You know, that's going to happen. Don't worry about it.
We're going to go up there and Vader's going to be like, "Now, before we fight, let me show you what's behind door number 1. And it's just the Emperor. He's just chilling.
Hello.
Oh, you were here the whole time.
Will there be a New Republic era campaign? Right now, there's no plan to. We're not going to continue this too much longer. Probably, like I said, the one more episode, maybe 2, depending on how it goes. Or if a wild path happens, a wild change, maybe we'll do. If people want, we might return to this and do a sequel campaign. We've got, I've already have plans to do like a sequel to Naruto, a Boruto D&D is what I'm going to call it.
Don't you dare call it Boruto.
I'm absolutely going to call it Boruto D&D.
I refuse.
Which we've still got a little bit for that one's even going to happen. We've got a couple of other D&D works that's before that's even going to start recording. But maybe after that, if people want to start doing more repeats or more sequels, maybe we will come back and do Star Wars. Was there any way to fix Ajisai? No. Ajisai, his path was determined once that happened. LeBaire had worked, had LeBaire purged him and then he wanted to return, there would have been a way for him to do that. But by him failing to survive, dying, and then using the Orb of Passage to reverse the flow of time, that cut off all possibility. Though the way that LeBaire would have fixed him was at that point impossible because because Ajisai was a paradox at that point. He shouldn't have existed, and LeBaire could not tie him back into the standard flow of reality fate. So unfortunately, once the Orb of Passage was used, once Ajisai failed to pass his saving or not his saving throws, but once the rolls were just not in his favor, that was it for him. It was just how he died.
What would have happened if he passed those rolls?
If he had passed those rolls, then he would have survived being totally mute of the Force. The similar things would have happened. The Force would have tried to kill him, still seeing him as a threat to the overall flow of fate. But LeBaire could have fixed him at that point and tied him back in, and everything would have been okay.
Interesting.
All right. So what was the actual deal with the orbs?
Sorry, Piranu was not a Gensari defender.
Oh.
He was an old Sith, around the same era of the KOTOR games, between or after KOTOR 1. I don't remember the exact timeline. Sometime around the KOTOR timeline.
Or after the battle, yeah. That's playing.
What was your question, Ghost? You know, Mike?
What was my question actually?
About the orbs? Or
The orbs. Yeah. What was the actual deal with the orbs? Or were they just like
the orbs were supposed to be a bigger deal. I'm really sad that more stuff wasn't initiated with Vam Nadris, because he was supposed to have a bigger role in it.
Yeah.
But you all just, instead of trying to figure out what the orbs were, instead of getting the droid parts you needed that you were looking for, the ship parts that you needed or were looking for, you all just said, all right, bye-bye, Sereno.
GG.
So the orbs were actually a fake thing. Like, they were real, but they were set up by Vam to try and control your actions into being something that he could mold. But because you never went back to him, there was no revelation. You just had these things that were essentially a conflict brewer that was meant for him to take advantage of, but he couldn't take advantage of it at that point.
GG.
Naruto will not be returning after this one. There will be more D&Ds still coming up, but Naruto is in the work. In Naruto, could someone have started with the Tailed Beast? No. That was asked when we started Naruto. I flat out said no. That the buffs for that are just too strong. Maybe in this next one, now that I've got a better grasp of D&D in general, maybe all out. We'll see. Like I said, it's still a little while before even starting that one, so who knows. What will happen to the streams when Star Wars ends? We're going to be taking a definite hiatus from the streams. The next one, the next D&D that's intended to be recorded kind of in the same time frame is going to be a Fallout D&D. I don't know if we'll stream that one. Well, once we get closer to that, I'm gonna ask people how they feel, if we can keep this consistent time frame going. And if so, then I'd be fine with continuing the stream, but it's gonna be up to player schedules, time conflicts, all that stuff. I'd also need to find some new ways to add audience interaction. Since there's no light or dark side of the Force in that one, I could come up with very custom things that you could do for much more costly point scores, like bringing in a ghoul or a super mutant that's suddenly wild, or a death claw, with certain thresholds of when that can and can't happen.
Yeah.
Double check the Gensari. Maybe he is Gensari. What's up?
Oh, it's about Piranha.
Yeah. Sarai. No, he's not Shinsarai. There's a similarity between him and them, but no, they are very distinct.
What would have happened if we had let Dario Bombastic get away?
Oh snap!
It would have just gone on killing again. It eventually
I
would have been a
think we
big
should
enough
let go.
embarrassment for the Empire that they would have had to bring in the Inquisitors. Or,
He deserved to be free.
or bomb the planet. Yeah, he was truly a good guy. Hey, I want to just say thanks to Putumayo during those sessions too for having an interest in the art that I set up and the lore I put into the place. No one else was doing it, so thank you.
All right, in my defense, I was trying to role play in a different way.
That's fair. I get it. Counter event or event or an event.
If we would have taken over the planet that hut was on, what was that? Nar Shaddaa?
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
Narshada.
Yeah, if we were to take that planet over, what would have happened?
Oh, like we stayed on Narshada.
If we
You
killed the hut.
had taken over, so that would have been breaking canon because that was a canon hut. But had you done that, what would have happened is you would have pissed off the entirety of Nalhutta and the entire hut clan, and they would have stopped at nothing to see you dead.
Yeah, that's a pretty But then we could have gone on a campaign of slowly assassinating and taking out the
wiping out the huts. Yeah, the huts are gone then.
What would have happened if the team didn't split up to face the Sith assassins? Well, most of the people wouldn't have died or been taken into prison.
Is this like post Xeno death? Like when I was
Yes.
gone? Or?
This is the thing that resulted. Oh, you might not even know about this. Kin's dead, by the way.
I'm not surprised, I guess. Yeah.
So the plan was to split the party up. The players going to face the assassins and using all the NPCs to go and make a fake attack on Geonosis to draw Vader that way to ensure they wouldn't have a conflict in taking out the assassins.
Okay.
Had they not done that, Vader wouldn't have arrived. He wouldn't have stopped the attack. He would have taken down the assassins and nothing bad would have happened.
GG. Apparently that did not happen.
Yeah, Vader had other stuff that he was attending to at the immediate time. That's the reason why he hadn't caught up to the team yet, because there were certain flows in the Force that was keeping him off the path. But once that happened, it was like, oh no, this is them attacking the Death Star being built. Vader's gonna take care of that personally.
Okay. So that's what I missed then. So everybody's about to die, basically. All right, cool.
Oh yeah. So I was gonna ask if you had watched the session.
Nah, not yet. But
well, it's too late. Spoiler alert.
all right.
Midas got kidnapped.
Oh gosh.
Midas got Midas napped.
It was your idea, wasn't it, Orpheus, to do that, to talk about splitting the party for the distraction? I was that's a great idea. I was like, yeah, sure.
I'm always a firm advocate for sticking together.
Yeah, we went to go rescue some of the party members, but then Midas decided not to get on the ship, but fly like his own ship, and the ship's hyperdrive was disabled, and so he got captured.
It was a wild series of decisions that Travis was making that day.
I'm not saying it's his fault, but
I think from his perspective, they were all decisions that made sense. But from a wider lens, it was like, what the fuck is going on? Is he really doing this? Off-topic question: while I continue Baldur's Gate streams, there was kind of a fleeting interest in that, and I didn't want to just keep flooding people with notifications of me stream. So probably not. If people are interested in it, sure. I still have the save. I haven't overwritten it. The updates might have caused a problem, but I think I'm probably still good. Where did Master Negotiator come from? That's an ability in the book. That is exactly where that comes from. It's like, it's just, I think it's inspired from Star Wars, like using the
The
Force
rules.
to kind of talk someone down and like breaking someone's will just through words. But it was like, it's a wild concept with someone, like just how much that was being used and in what ways. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
The problem was deciding like, well, it's trying not to use it because it's just so easy to use. You can always just like say something, but then again, it also takes your action during battle, so it's pretty risky.
But if Dross was never revealed that he killed Strength. Oh. I mean, not much would have changed. Yeah, nothing meaningful, really. Could they have encountered Cal or Starkiller? Cal, yes. We were still about a year behind in canon from where that event was. But if time had gone by, if a time skip had occurred, I was absolutely open to that. Cal. Starkiller, I actually had a path open to do something with that, but it was entirely ignored. I was going to have that be a possible confrontation for the players before confronting Vader. But he was still young at that point, and so that was what deterred me initially. So that would have also required a time skip for me to fully execute that one. Technically, I could still do it if we're going from that time. Except it's just going to be you beating the shit out of a 6-year-old.
GG.
He's probably like 10 at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're talking about the Star Killer. Yeah, man, it's too strong.
In what way was the path ignored?
I don't remember exactly what it was. I set up a mention of a child being seen with Vader at some point. And that was essentially it. Was if you ever pursued that idea of trying to find out who that kid was. That's a little bit of why when you were going to Kashyyyk, when that was brought up, that was kind of tied in because that's where he was being hidden, was by the Wookiee. That would have been years ago, but you could have seen the destruction. How do you get Slayer form in Baldur's Gate? I believe you have to do a Dark Urge run, and you have to appeal to Baal. Like, work with his side towards the end.
Yes, that's very, very nicely.
I haven't actually gotten Slayer form in Baldur's Gate yet. Like I said, I haven't completed the Dark Urge run. Would have been a Starkiller clone. That could have been a fun way to do it. A Starkiller clone that was sped up, so it would be an early encounter. Without doing a time skip. That way it's not as strong, but that could have been fun. That wasn't the plan, but that could have been fun. Was the bank robbery thing in the VR an actual robbery? It was a preparation for a robbery. That is one of the things. Let me go to the planet. The tokens might be gone now. This building here in the bottom left corner. Had the players gone into this building or gone towards that building, they would have recognized the guy who brought them into the VR mission. And he would have been like, all right, we've done the pre-fake heist to give us a test case. Now it's time for the real heist, baby.
GG.
So it would have been the kind of thing where it would have been the precursor to an actual heist. But the players didn't go towards the door.
All right. So Malachor 5.
Uh-huh.
Right. It was a mention of the Jedi there and the Inquisitors. Or the Assassins, I think Inquisitors. What was the fallout from that? What was the consequences of us going to Malachor 5? Because right now we're 3 years past Order 66. Or 3 years past Order 66.
Did you go to Malachor 5?
We didn't go to Malachor 5. You mentioned like right before I went to go to try to save like Midas and Idisai from being like cryo frozen. You mentioned like pretty much the ways that I could get enough money to pay off the dude was either to go to there's a bounty on Malachor 5 for Jedi. But the assassins were also going to be there, or
I thought that was Mustafar.
whatever else we actually do. Was it Mustafar? I thought it was Malachor.
I'm pretty sure it was Mustafar.
All right, maybe I'm just misremembering that. So never mind then.
I can tell you the result of that would have been an ambush. There was no Jedi. It was a fake bounty.
Rip. All right.
It was meant to be an ambush, and then y'all just said, nah. Dang it.
I was about to take the risk, dude. Said two assassins. I was like, nah.
Was there any plot lines behind the Jar Jar character? Not Jar Jar character. The
Gungan.
The Gungan that was on Nar Shaddaa?
No. Absolutely not.
Good to know.
GG.
It was not Mustafar? Maybe I misspoke.
Oh. So
I
why
meant
did
it to be Mustafar. If I misspoke, that was on me.
So why did the Crimson Dawn want those people killed?
Which people?
The 3 missions they gave us that we did none of.
So the people on the moon above Geonosis?
Yeah.
They wanted them killed because essentially the Empire was outsourcing the bounty or the contract because they didn't want to have any direct ties to the killing of Imperial citizens. So they were just going to gangs and saying, hey, we don't want anyone to even be close to the Geonosis project. Kill these natives.
Hey.
That was the Empire?
Yes.
That wanted to do that?
Yep.
Oh, I see.
And so they essentially hired Crimson Dawn to do the job.
So dirty work for the Empire. What about the other jobs? The other one was to clear a military base? Or clear an abandoned outpost?
Yeah, I think that one was just like nothing special. It was just like a more neutral path that you could have taken. While the other 2 were like, you have to do some dark stuff if you want to ally with the Crimson Dawn.
What was the other one? There was 3.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Same.
Didn't Starkiller make the rebellion? That's technically not canon, but in that story, he was involved in the creation of the rebellion. There's like 8 different ways that the rebellion started, though, so, sort of.
Yeah.
What if they went to Dathomir? That was something I dabbled on with them to do, but there was never a good enough pull. Any plot hooks that did go in that direction just were never tugged on. Had they gone there, they would have encountered the Dathomir witches, similar to how Cal Kestis does. And I would have probably had some special force event of them going part of one of the witches' dens. Nothing that was strongly at this point. Are the assassins actually stronger than the Inquisitors, or were they just talking big? Most of the assassins were stronger than most of the Inquisitors, but the best Inquisitors could have put up a fight. Dross 10 and Draktal would have been the strongest by the end, and probably could have been almost every Inquisitor. I think just about every Inquisitor. The first Inquisitor might have given them a little bit of run for their money. But they were genuinely stronger. Even though at times it definitely didn't seem like it. Passion was not stronger. He was talking big.
He had passion.
Yeah.
When we killed Jay and the Emperor shot down the ship, what would have happened if we stayed? 2 questions. What would have happened if we got captured? And was there any additional plot lines with where we got transported to? That place, I guess it was beneath the planet. It was underwater. That facility where I got the Rakatan screaming blade.
I don't remember what planet that brought you to. There wasn't much of an additional plot line. But had you been captured, you would have been brought into the Sith assassin headquarters. You would have been tortured by Palpatine, and he would try to have converted you to the dark side. And if you failed to, you either would have had to make a breakout attempt or died. Probably.
Probably won't.
Probably. We would have been fine.
Like we always have.
Wiping out people on the planet that LeBear was on was the other one. Okay. Or innocent killing. And that one was partially because of their deal with LeBear. They made a back alley deal with LeBear, Palpatine did, where they are aware of each other and they are allowing each other to coexist by not interacting with each other. But just in case there was any remnants of LeBear's research that would have led to damaging the people, to damaging the Sith Empire, that's why the people on that planet were wanting to be wiped out.
Interesting.
Just make sure that there's no of LeBear's research outside of him. Will Midas be an Inquisitor the next time we see him? That one you'll have to keep watching to find out. Maybe.
Might be dead.
Might be dead. Who knows? Oh, did they emerge on Naboo? Yeah, they went down on Coruscant, and then they emerged on Naboo. Yeah, you're right. So there were no additional plot hooks with the Rakatans. There was potentially going to be more general plot hooks with the Rakatan Empire, but not with that specific group of Rakatans. So I was already on the dark side. Would he have made him a hand? No. Palpatine still followed a lot of the rule of two. He did not want there to be two hands because then he would have viewed that as two people capable of backstabbing him. He wanted to keep it just as one person capable of getting that close to backstab him. That was one of the things Drosten referred to the Sith assassins as the left hand. That was more of them talking big than it was them actually being as the left hand. They viewed themselves, the assassins, as the left hand, the hidden hand behind the back with holding the knife. But more than anything, they were just a tool being held, not the actual hand. I'll post a PDF of character sheets. Almost all of the character sheets I made in Roll20, so probably not for this one. If there's a way to export these sheets, I could do that. If there is. I know some stuff I can do. Where is it? I can do stuff like that, but that doesn't give you details.
If you print maybe to a PDF, let's see.
Maybe there might be some way. I'll have to look into it.
Were there any other Force teachers that we have passed by in our travels?
Any past teachers that you passed by?
Yeah, well, any Force attuned teachers that would have taken us in and...
I get you. I don't think so. I think you countered pretty much everything that I put in your way.
What if we went to where Yoda was hiding? Would you have allowed us to interact with him?
I would have killed something like that.
Nah, I think that Yoda would have just like bushwhacked us. Pick the party off one by one.
You absolutely could have interacted with Yoda to some degree. But almost no one knew where Yoda was. It was Obi-Wan and Senator Organa. Those were the only two people that knew where. And Cal Kestis eventually. But, yeah. Oh, the characters, not the NPCs? I'm fine with doing that. I'm fine with posting those PDFs. Will I ever play a support-based character? like in the other D&Ds. I've tried. I almost always find myself being drawn more into the spotlight even in the other games, just to help keep things going, and that makes me be less and less of a support. If you mean something else by that, let me know. I'm not familiar with the rule of one of Palpatine. I know he viewed himself above Vader 100%, if that's what that's in relation to.
Is it the rule of one?
That's like constantly Palpatine's trying to raise up new forces to kill Vader because he views Vader as too much of a threat, but every single time Vader beats them. And that's kind of what the assassins were also made to do, find a new apprentice that would be strong enough to kill Vader. And that's been talked about. But yeah, none of the assassins would have been. Closest one that would have had a chance would have been Draktal, just through sheer power, but even how did the giant true-blooded Sith exist? He was an experiment created under Palpatine's orders using old Sith genetics that he had cloned and combined with a Rancor, trying to just... Because Palpatine had a ton of experiments that he was doing, genetic experiments. And that's stuff that's even been covered in the new canon with him, like making the villain in Star Wars Episode 7 and 8. I forgot his name.
Snoke.
Snoke.
He was doing a ton of experiments like that, and that was meant to be kind of like a precursor to his dabbling in Snoke. But that's what it was. It was an experiment that went wrong. He could not control it. It was too dangerous. So they were trying to find some other way to do it, and the players managed to do it. And he is the only one that exists. But maybe he'll attempt the experiment again in the future, who knows? Under more controlled circumstances, maybe not with a Rancor, but with other people, other types of creatures or species. What would have happened to Chi and Paya if Ajisai didn't kill them? They probably would have been allies up to this very point. They would have eventually, because they wanted to pursue acting against the Empire, they probably would have ended up as allies in this battle. If they didn't die in the team split. They might have given their life to save Kin. I might have done that, but there being more Force presence there, backing him up.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah. Killing Chi and Paya was a very, very poor decision. They were meant to be kind of unlikable, so that was like kind of me pushing the players to do that eventually. But the way it happened was Travis just letting it happen. I was like, what the fuck?
It was wild, dude. I didn't expect. I just had to do it, but I also didn't expect.
It's like, so we're gonna risk our lives and save these people, and then once we're done playing with them, we're just gonna kill them.
Yeah,
like spoiled children.
Gosh, dang!
Walking over a rickety bridge to go and get a new toy just to throw it off the fucking side.
GG, man.
Yeah, he wants to be immortal. Yeah. Rule of one. Yeah. And that was all stuff that he was also pursuing as well. That's part of the experimentation, was trying to find like a new body or new way of going through the Force, a way of him to absorb things from it to try and make himself be that truly. What buffs did the souls give Xeno? Go through some old notes here. 1 second.
I think I still got it up. Let me see.
So when the spirits were with you, the Achani gave a +1 to all checks. Passion gave a +2 to all checks. Strength gave a +1 to all checks. Chi and Paya gave a -1 to all checks. Jay gave a -2 to his reflex defense and a -2 to his other defenses. And Plagueis gave a +5 to force checks made to harm or defend against Midas.
What?
So if he was trying to attack Midas, he'd get a +5 to all use the force checks, or if he was defending against a Midas force ability, it would have given a +5.
It's just so painfully specific.
It
So
was
who
Plagueis
bombed?
hated Midas.
So who put the bombs on our ship?
was
Yeah, that was HK.
Oh, okay.
That's an HKD. All right,
Why? Just to fulfill his mission of killing?
No, it was LeBear was going to put them there as a failsafe in case you all started to piss him off.
Yeah.
That was
He's like,
literally the main reason. It was like, if they become too much of a problem for me, if they start pursuing me, boom.
Okay, you guys want to play? All right, everybody roll. Everybody roll. Use the fourth check.
What if they encountered a 4-year-old Luke? Would Kenobi just start beating them like a drum? That would have been pretty much the only way for them to have encountered Obi-Wan. I don't know if, depending on, like, if it was when they first went to Tatooine, if they had encountered Luke there, then yeah, Obi-Wan would probably have just kicked their asses or been like, he would have recognized them, so he would have confronted them and be like, what are you doing here?
Chilling, bro. Yeah, what would you have done if I went to Palpatine, right? And I asked to learn the manipulation of midichlorians, even though that's meta knowledge.
Say that one more time.
I said, what would you have done if I asked, if I went to Palpatine and asked him to learn how to manipulate midichlorians, even though that's meta knowledge?
I probably would have put you on the path to him corrupting you to the dark side. I'd be like, oh, I'd happily tell you this, but you must bow and surrender yourself to me.
GG. I might have done it.
Yeah, Kenobi would not have been a Jedi at that point. So yeah, he probably wouldn't kick their asses. I don't remember if at that time Kenobi was out yet, the show. So with that in hindsight, he probably would have. I still would have viewed him as a Jedi. I don't know. It would have depended on when that session was recorded. I don't remember. Was there a way for them to be full dark side after Order 6, but before the time skip end? Yes, I would have permitted it if it was something that they were really dedicated to commit to, but they would have had to do a lot of dark shit in very little amount of time.
I could have made that happen.
You definitely gave yourself some lean to the dark side after the time skip.
Oh,
That was a lot of fun. I tried to get a little bit more into some of the time skips that had happened, the ones that had more plot relevance. That being like the time skip how Midas met Sid and all that, his droid. But like I said, those plot hooks were just kind of ignored, and so a lot of the backstories that didn't get delved into just never expanded upon.
yeah, well, that's why I wanted to get to that planet, because I wanted to find out like what was the deal, like what actually happened
With Felucia?
Yeah, with legit.
Players went back to Felucia while you were gone.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they went into the cave where you killed the guy. His corpse was still there. They interacted with his ghost and talked about how Xeno killed me.
Rip.
Essentially feeding a false narrative behind the story.
GG. I want to go to Midas' planet too, or wherever you went during the time skip, or during the time skip.
Yeah.
What actually happened there? Like, I guess, can you reveal that?
Yeah, I can reveal that. So when he was on, getting the name of the planet, it's that water planet. Not Moncala. It starts with M, I think. Manon. He trained with the fish people there because they had some force sensitive fish people down at the bottom of the ocean, and that's where he got his sword, because it's part of their rite of passage that they do. And he was going to use that to go and unite with his team, and that's when he sensed the dark side of the Force approaching, and as he was swimming back up to the surface to get away and hide, that was Vader coming down to slaughter and take control of all the people, all the Manons that remained.
Snap.
And that's a canon event. Something that he had the choice to be like to swim back and die trying to stop Vader from slaughtering them. He chose to be selfish in that moment and survive, which is the right call. He wouldn't have made a difference, so. Stolen Aji-sized jetpack, portable high ground.
GG.
What's stopping them from bombing the Emperor from orbit? Even if they got the ship into orbit above Coruscant, they would immediately be fired upon by the other ships and the anti-air that's there. If theoretically they could shoot a barrage down while they're going down. If the players want to try that, they're more than welcome to. We'll see how it goes.
Nah, there's a 0% chance of success.
I know that there are some orbital defense measures for worlds like that. I'd have to read up on.
Yeah, no chance of success.
What would have happened if we had failed that mission that was on the cruise ship? Like, what if that guy died? Oh, okay.
And so you never would have been able to afford your ship.
We just kept.
Yeah, they're like, well, all right. Guess y'all suck. Bye.
See y'all later.
That's true. As a grown man, they're all young. He always has the high ground. On worlds that didn't get fully explored that I can.
Yeah, like was there anything special about the planets that EL told us?
Nothing too special. Would have been places that you could have explored, but nothing that was too phenomenal. There was stuff that you could have done on Karkaris, side missions you could have taken. One of them would have involved Moncala stuff, and that was one of the plot hooks to Midas' droid. But that literally all these side buildings. So. Do they still have Dross 10's steel chip? Yes, credit steel chip. Yeah, I believe that they all still have it. Which is a fun fact. That was something that he also had that functioned as a tracker.
Interesting.
So that was something that from the very beginning he gave you, so that way he could track your whereabouts. No one knows about it now because he's dead. He didn't get the chance to pass it on.
GG. Yeah, I guess what if I instead of killing Dross, what if I just went with the assassins with him? Then what would happen after that? Would we have gone to face Vader with the other assassins or
Dross 10 would have eventually he would have been like, no, we gotta kill the weaker assassins at least. They're too susceptible to being turned against us in the battle. So we gotta make sure that we have a committed force to go against him. So he would have made sure that at least the lower assassins would have been probably would have kept 1, 2.
Raktal. Pretty much. That's it.
Raktal. Vero was good at one point, or a decent ally at one point, but Aji-Sai really messed up her entire worldview.
Did Vera survive that planet? Oh, and what would have happened if those trees have absorbed all of our force points? Not when we were there last time, but when we first visited.
If you let it drain you to the 0 force point mark and then let it keep going, it would have slowly started sucking your life away, all the remaining force that kept you alive.
Was there any chance for us to work with the trees? Be one of the force?
Not really, because they acted as a being that was the force, but they themselves actually were a separate entity that was kind of under a misguided belief system. There wasn't really much you could do to work with them other than submitting to them. I think Ross was with you in the one fight against the Yuzon Vong, wasn't he?
Maybe. Was he on the planet with us with the Monk Collins?
Yep, Dross was there. So yeah, Dross knew about the Yuzon Vong. He wasn't like more familiar than the players though. They were still a first encounter for him.
Mm.
And this song has a very Kingdom Heartsy feel to it.
No way.
Not that song. Like when Roxas is finally surrendering himself to be a Sora memory.
Oh, GG.
Like that sad song that goes on.
It's super sad song, dude. They play in happened 358 2 days.
I still need to play that.
Just watch cutscene movie. Don't play.
GG.
Trust me.
Save yourself the trouble. Find a YouTube video.
If Dross overthrew the Emperor, would he just align the Chiss and the Sith, the Empire, and the Empire? He might. I never gave that part that much thought because that was never something that he was expected to do. He probably would. Especially after, had he met Thrawn, he probably would. He would have been like, look at me. I'm the greatest Sith ever. You're the greatest Imperial leader ever. Yeah, clearly this Chiss know what's up. We're going to fucking take over the Empire with our academy. With our Chiss descendants.
GG. They would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
The live action version of Thrawn is pretty solid too. In the Ahsoka show.
I need to finish that. I got 2 more episodes.
I really like the Sith. I really like the dark side of the Force in that show. I don't care that much about. Like, I really liked the Mandalorian girl. I'm forgetting her name in Rebels, but I don't care much for her in the live action.
Yeah, understandable.
I thought the actress did a fine job. Nothing against her. I know. Putting her in a Force direct event seemed like it was inconsistent.
Yeah.
Any other questions that we have? Any other things? I'll look through other maps of possible missed events that will jog my memory.
Yes, but right after a word from our sponsors.
Hemorrhoids driving you crazy? I'm to go see the doctor. You remember that fucking old video? Kakashi's Proctology.
GG, man.
What even is that video called? I couldn't find that even if I wanted to. I'm gonna see if I can find that real quick.
Maybe the name of it.
Naruto Real Ninjas, a 2007 video.
That's what it was.
Real Ninjas. Holy shit. I'm gonna post that in memes and media. Hey, if you aren't already, be sure to join the Discord if you want. It's not the most active Discord. You're just gonna get mostly alerts when we go live or when videos post. Beyond that, most of it's just used to share memes or chat. I haven't had as many gaming events lately because, you know, people.
So, oh yeah, this another quality. I recall distinctly the quality of this animation.
Orchis Inquisitorius, that would have been the time skip, which I would have been down for. That would have been a way for you to not die to the Emperor and Vadar. That would have been a way for you to avoid this path that you were on. While also still having a fun future story opportunity. But, no, that didn't happen. And Address, he would have been a real fun character. I wanted to implement more of him, but players just didn't. Just fucking said, nope, we're out. Let me go through my notes here, see what other things that I intended to do at one point. Danny, the Dario AI, that was in the hands of the Empire. You didn't actually destroy her.
What?
Yeah, she acted like she was down and backed herself up, and so when the Empire searched the place, she was taken over, and she was going to be used against you. I'm really sad that you all didn't get more parts to upgrade your ship. Because I was going to put you on one final mission that was to get a stealth piece to make sure that you could permanently stay out of the way of the Empire. That was going to be the final one. And it was going to be a very morally conflicting mission where had you gotten the stealth unit, the only way you could have acquired it was by essentially allowing an entire village of children to die.
Oh gosh.
So it would have been the kind of thing where it's like, if we don't get this, the Empire is probably going to destroy our ship. And if we do get it, then we're going to kill a bunch of innocent children. That just never happened. Because no one pursued the ship parts.
Thank goodness. We should get the other part. Yeah, this day.
Danny, that AI was going to be used against you. That was going to be used in that attack, in the attack against your ship. Oh, here's a real fun one. I'm going to save this one for when Putamao gets back.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I thought I scroll through these notes to remember.
Oh, I have this note from when LeBear first was interacting with the clones. When he was first joining the team, he was using the Force to slowly go through your minds without any of you, to try and read your memories, to try and understand everything about you, any threats to him, things like that.
Wait, what?
LeBear, when you first met him, he was using the Force to go into all of your minds and memories, including Yale, the Jedi, Passion, Tuzig, everyone.
Without consent?
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's quite rude.
So one that's really fun here, that some of you called out, of Soda 7 and why he wasn't utilized more. Had you used him to try and go against HK, he would have lied and said that he succeeded, because HK, very early on, you remember he went in and worked on Soda 7, he immediately put him under his own control there.
Oh my goodness.
It was essentially just like, if they ever do anything to work against me, we're going to act like it succeeded, and then we're going to kill them.
Everybody's always playing reverse Uno cards. Face down, in defense mode.
Things. Terror Walkers was going to be something, which those are, I think those were a type of anti-Jedi fighter. Dark Sister Force Magic was going to be a thing going into the Witches of Dathomir. But that just never came to fruition.
What would have happened if Putumayo accepted the deal that LeBear made him telepathically?
Was that to leave and just like say F the...
Yeah, I believe so. If I check our DMs, LeBear asks you deal or no deal. He'll tell you that you're being hunted by the Emperor's right hand. But here, I'll just post it in the chat.
Cool.
And then read it off. He'll tell you that you're being hunted by the Emperor's right hand, but you can spare yourself by sabotaging the ship, making it so that the next time you leave hyperspace will destroy the engines. No death would immediately occur, but you'd be stranded on Nur. There, the rest of you would be hunted, and then you would be spared in the end.
They would have made good on that deal.
What would have happened to the rest of the party?
They would have either been killed or thrown into the prison for a time skip.
Time skip, nice.
Oh, so that would have been a time skip. But then what would have happened to Putumayo?
You would have been free to go on your own way, and that would have been I talk to you, and we figure out exactly what you're doing during this. Do you return? Do you make a new character? It would have been up to you.
Oh, okay. Well, so the party would have just, I guess, killed me on sight if I came back.
Possibly. Or it could be the kind of thing where it's like after so many years go by, you're like, you find them, you're like, I'm so sorry. I regretted my decision as soon as I made it. Please forgive me. And they would have tested them.
Weak.
Nah, Zeno
Nah, that's not in Putumayo's character. Putumayo would have been like, yeah. Putumayo would have been, yeah, I'll fucking do it again.
Originally gonna have more Revanite stuff for Mike. Yeah, there was other stuff that just kept taking priority, and by the time the Revanite came by, it was too late.
It was just too late.
More Cotton Underground stuff. Oh, here. A force-sensitive alien who has an aptitude for seeing the future, but only when high on spice. That became Yell.
Yeah, that's Yell. Yell was great.
I was going to have an iteration of the Yamaguchi boys in this. And they were going to lead themselves in with a song, something like something like really fucking like a really 80s like stupid fucking musical. It's like, you wanna come to our town and play with our toys? You clearly don't know who you're dealing with. We're the Yamaguchi boys. Like a real cheesy shit like that. And that was gonna be their entire character. They could have allied with y'all and helped y'all out.
You still have a chance. Still would. At least a little bit of time. You can
the Yamaguchi boys could come to our aid in our final moments. Driven by our exploits with Dario Bombastic. And
freaking this will be great.
After all, we did live stream that.
That's true. That's true. They finally found you. There's going to be a campaign focused around y'all finding one-of-a-kind tech for a rebel base. That became finding the ship's parts. A lot of little notes I have of things that became something else or never got touched on. Dryden Voss was meant to encounter you later without realizing who you were, but instead you just found him.
You found him first.
Air troopers that finally came in towards the end. Quinlan Voss was going to come up. You were going to have a whole mission with him. Who's a real fun Clone Wars character. He's the Jedi who survived the Purge. He's the Black Jedi. He has I think like dreadlocks coming down. He's a really cool character. He has base paint across his like nose and cheeks.
Oh, isn't he the dude that has like the force power, like picks up the objects and he's like the psychometry or whatever, or
maybe,
or he can tell the future or like the past or not the future but the past of an object's history.
That might be him. Touching. That might be. I don't remember if that's him. It sounds like that sounds right.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember myself. I remember he was in Clone Wars, and that name sounds very familiar.
I had a whole series of planets set up with you talking to Dexter from Dex's Diner. Like when you first went to Coruscant and you're like, we need to find a way to sneak in, and I kept hinting, how about Dex's Diner? Wink, wink, and no, and you just completely ignored that. You said, no, we're just going to go in and land.
GG. Yeah, that was him. That was Quinlan Voss. Yeah, like the force power, he could like you could see the memories of the people of the object, or by like touching the object that or touching objects, you like see the past.
All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I think that's gonna be where we end.
All right.
Anything else you want to reveal to us?
I don't think so.
How's this gonna end? Late on, it's not as funny.
You have a very real chance of all dying.
I expect this to.
But I'll say it's not guaranteed. You have ways of survival.
Yeah, we can just leave Midas there.
That is one of the paths. But like, you know what?
Midas told us to leave him. Yeah, Midas did say to leave him there. So there's no skin off our bones.
Yeah.
Gee. I'm a liked it. I can't just leave.
Yeah, you actually just got back, so.
All right. Last chance for final questions here then.
Will Korea come back in the final episode? Not just playing.
Yeah.
Uh, would Korea have been an active force at all, or was she just meant to be to serve as like a representation of like the force's guidance or whatever when we were in that temple?
She was just meant to be one of the perspectives of people, the different perspectives of people had in the Force, and something that could
Okay.
guide your decisions moving forward.
Yeah. 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 That was my last question.
All right. Well, then I've covered this briefly at the start. Next week will ideally be the final session. There might be some player conflicts. I know one's going to be late, but it's one that's okay to be late. I know another one that, Putumayo, you said that you have an issue with it. And we'll determine that, play that by ear for next week. If not, it'll be the week after. We'll finish it then. So, hey, thanks for joining us for this Merry Sithmas. I hope you enjoy your holidays. Have a very good Christmas. If you are watching this on YouTube and you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll get to them as much as I can. Initial comments, we always get alerted on. If you reply to my reply, I don't get alerted on those, so if I miss that, sorry. So, yeah, let's give another thanks to our patrons here. Thanks to Brian Perez, Mads Hacker, Ethan, Ramiro Posadas, Quagger Loki, Gramaguchi, Zay, Saint Kill, Pepper20. Happy holidays. See you hopefully next week. No matter what, on YouTube, we'll see you next week. If not, hopefully we'll see you before New Year. Bye.